Today we're going to make caprese chicken. So one of my, well, let me start with, I have my pan heating on medium to high heat, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and let that heat up. One of my favorite things about visiting Italy was this beautiful salad with fresh mozzarella and Roma tomatoes and basil and balsamic vinaigrette, and it was just amazing. And if I say salad in this house, everyone says, what are we eating? Because they're not having it. So this dish is kind of a combination of that salad I love with chicken, so they'll eat it. The other thing is, I don't get fresh mozzarella here, so we have to make do with what we've got. So I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil heating in my pan, and then I have about a pound of chicken. I'm going to use chicken tenders today. I have a teaspoon of salt, so I'm just going to sprinkle over the top. You just want to make sure your chicken has some seasoning to it. And then a half a teaspoon of white pepper, and you can use as much or as little as you want of both of those. But make sure that the chicken gets some kind of seasoning. Then I'm going to flip them over and do the same thing on the other side. Pepper. Salt. There we go. Now, the oil is starting to heat up. See, I sprinkled just a little bit of the pepper that was left on my fingers and it started sizzling in the pan. That means your oil is hot enough. So I'm going to take my chicken and just lay it gently in the pan. And we're going to cook these until they're cooked thoroughly, so about 3 minutes on each side. So our chicken has been on here for about 2.5 minutes. So I'm just going to flip. You see that nice golden brown color? That's really all you're looking for. Now if your chicken is thicker or you're cooking whole breast, it's going to take longer than my little chicken tenders. As long as it's just a pound of chicken. So our chicken is cooked all the way through. Now I'm just going to take it and set it aside on a plate while we make our sauce. The first thing to add to our pan is a half of a cup of balsamic vinegar. And we're going to turn this down to about a medium low. Then we're going to add I have 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. And we're just going to cook this for a little bit, about a minute or so before we add our tomatoes. Now I have 2 pints of grape tomatoes that are cut in half. Makes about 4 cups of tomatoes. Feel free to use more tomatoes or less tomatoes depending on how you like it. Personally, I like tomatoes, so I added extra. So now all I'm going to do is add my grape tomatoes. It's about 4 cups. And then I have a teaspoon of salt. I'm not going to use all of it more than likely. I just want to give it enough to add a little bit of flavor. The tomatoes are very sweet, so you want to give it a nice balance and contrast. And I'm going to stir this together, and then we're going to leave them alone. Let the balsamic vinegar and the garlic and the tomatoes cook for about 5-7 minutes, just till the tomatoes get a little blistery. So our tomatoes should look like this, just a little bit of a blister on them. And then it's time to add basil. So I have about 3 tablespoons of fresh basil. And I just tore it apart. It's not cut finely, it's not diced, it is just torn by hand. So it's a little mismatched, which is, if you've ever had the caprese salad in Italy, is exactly as they did it. So I'm going to stir that in. And then it's time to add our chicken back to the pan. Just like that. And then I have 5 slices of mozzarella cheese that I'm going to put over the top. And you can use more cheese or less cheese. You can use shredded cheese. It does not have to be. Just however much cheese makes your family happy. We're cheese people, so it's a lot around here. I cover all of the chicken, put the lid on. We're gonna let this sit for about 2 minutes and let that cheese melt in, and then we'll be ready for dinner. So I forgot to mention that we have to turn off the heat to let the cheese melt. Otherwise, you'll have clumps of cheese all over. It'll stick to the pan. It'll get ugly. So there's enough heat in the pan that if you just put a lid on it, that cheese will melt perfectly. And there we are, chicken caprese. Now you can serve this with pasta, on like an Italian bread with that crunchy, thick crust. You can serve it by itself. It can go in a salad, however you want.